afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Figured people have been enjoying the Saturday afternoon drinks and chats, so figured we'll continue with it. We last couple have been great. Sword Point 9 and Free Spirit Prepping News brought a lot of good things to the table last couple of weeks. Some really good in-depth conversations. So I figured why not keep it up. And there's just a lot to talk about. You lightweight. I've been drinking Jaeger all afternoon. Like I said, I've been enjoying my days off. I got a little bit of things actually accomplished that needed to be done. I need a crap ton of dishes. Thanksgiving, plus I needed to clean up a little bit, get the shelvings thing built for the bathroom. But for the most part, I've been enjoying my days off, relaxing, catching up on a few things. Like I found it interesting post. India has filed charges against Bill Gates for murder. They're blaming it on the vaccine. Interesting. How things play out. Now, won't let anything come of this, but I highly doubt it. Nothing usually does, but especially when we're dealing with the rich and powerful like Bill Gates. He's got the money, and is India actually going to try to extradite him from the United States? I doubt it. Don't see it happening. Will the United States government allow him to be extradited? Hell no. He's put way too much money in politicians' campaign funds. Not to mention what he's paid pharma. So, yeah, it looks good on report. But that's pretty much all it's going to be. There's a bunch of words written down in the end, and that's the sad thing about it. Because we need accountability. But, things are getting really bad over in Europe and Australia. Australia continued protesting. In Germany, it's gotten so bad you can't even go into a restaurant. Cops will raid the restaurants, and they're expecting the owners to take documentation that everybody who comes in is vaccinated or suffer heavy penalties if you serve somebody that's unvaccinated. And then the ones they catch inside the restaurants unvaccinated, they're arresting them right there on the spot. I mean, damn, we're looking at Nazi Germany all over again. But we're seeing the people rise up and take action. They're not tolerating that. That's what we need to see. We complied. When they wanted to shut us down, put us on lockdown, we complied. When we should have said no. There was an interesting post. It was from the Nuremberg trials. They asked this Nazi, how was you able to convince the German people so easily? He said it was simple. It had nothing to do with Nazism. We did it through fear. Once the people was able to make the people fear, he was able to control them. That's why I've said for the past year and a half, it's been one big fear campaign and propaganda. I mean, look, Biden says we're going to make everybody get mandated that they get vaccinated by January, February. He pushed so much fear that OSHA actually considered it and went through the motions of trying to do it until a couple 5th District courts stood up and put a hold on the mandate. You know, mind you, that all Biden would have to do is a flick of a pen. An executive order, but it's unconstitutional. They all know it. That's why Congress has not brought it up. And the funny fact is, Congress ain't mandated to get vaccinated. Now, federal employees are, except for Congress. They're exempt. Why can they be exempt and nobody else? What makes them any better than anybody else? What makes them think they're such above everybody else? Because they're rich? Because they're the ones writing the laws? They get to state who's exempt and who's not? I'm sorry. The law applies equally for everybody. They ain't no better than any of us. In fact, they're worse than us. 90% of our Congress is nothing but criminals. Worse than criminals. 90% of our Congress have committed treason in one form or another. Whether swearing allegiance to another country, prompting other countries' regulations and laws upon us that violate our Constitution, trying to strip our constitutional rights away, standing in Congress telling we don't have a right to freedom of speech, telling big tech platforms they have a right to censor people like Alex Jones. You know my opinion on Alex Jones. I don't care for him. He's nothing in my personal view and opinion. In my eyes, is nothing more than a CIA plant. And a very dangerous person. But he's a tool. And his purpose was served out in front of Congress. He was trending on Twitter, and they made Twitter take him down from trending. They used him as the catalyst for censorship. Sometimes we have to be careful about who we trust and follow and listen to. Not sometimes. We should be careful all the time. We should always be taking everything anybody says with a grain of salt. It's our job to find do our research, find our own facts and formulate our opinions and views off of what we find, not what somebody else tells us. We don't need independent fact checkers that are paid for by the corporations that are using them. So it's one-sided no matter what. It's not independent. And I wouldn't even agree with the independent fact checkers. Because it's so hard to keep a person's own opinions and views and to be unbiased against something that you don't agree with. So no, having fact checkers isn't the answer. The answer is you doing your own research. You fact checking. And not just fact checking one side of the story that suits you. It's Just fact checking all the sides of the story, because there's more than one. Then formulating your own opinion and view. One, that promotes growth in yourself. It helps free your mind from the lies, the illusions. It helps you to become free and independent thinkers. Which is what they don't want. They want everybody to comply and conform to their ideology. They don't want nobody speaking their mind. Never have, they never will. Because the day we start doing that's the day they lose any form of control or power over us. And throughout history, they've always went after the free thinkers. In fact, they've created some very colorful terms. And that if you study the root origins of words and stuff, you would know what the root origins of the word pagan, heathen, and heretic mean. The common folk, the free thinkers. So if you have an opinion and a view, you're a heretic. You're a heathen. Now we use such labels as you're a racist. You're a supremacist. When the true supremacists are the one in power. The one running the government. They're your true supremacist. By definition. Before I ramble on too much, in the description, there's phone numbers for those of us in the U.S. The very first number is the phone number along with the PIN. So if you want to call in, you can call in. You scroll further down past the numbers, there's actually a link that'll allow you to join me right here in the gathering now. As you can see, you don't have to have a video. In fact, when you come in, your video won't be on. That's your option to turn it on or off. You guys know me. I prefer mine off, but occasionally I will turn it on. I'll turn it on now. Since they still haven't fixed our little sharing thing, so I can't screen share. So you can't see all my wonderful graphics in the background. But it is on point that we have these discussions. We talk about things. Like I said, the last 2 weeks have been the Saturday afternoon chat, drinks and chat shows been pretty good, especially with 0.9 and Free Spirit Preppy News. We covered a lot of things, talked about a lot of things, had various different conversations on various different topics. And it's been great. Good enough for me to say, okay, maybe I will add Saturdays to the list, which is truthfully Saturdays and Sundays. About the really only time I really have time to actually sit down and stream anymore when I'm on vacation or something. So I'm going to keep the afternoon one in. I'll keep the Sunday evening one, I think. I do enjoy the Sunday evening one when I don't have to work. But I'm pretty much all done with the overtime, so unless they make it mandatory, I'm not. Other than the little 3-4 hours I do on my own a week, I don't plan on doing it anymore the rest of the year. Sorry, by the time the year's over, I'll have over 400 hours of overtime in for the year. Yeah, I'm done. But I did find that article interesting about Bill Gates. But like I said, nothing's going to come about it. He's got too much money, too much wealth, and too many government politicians and officials that will protect him, keep him from ever being extradited to India. That's the sad part. I don't care how much money that person has, how much wealth they have. They should never be above the law. I'm just waiting for for justice to be served on Fauci for all the illegalness that he's done. And I do find it interesting. Another article I came across today talking about the new variant. How money was already given for aid 2 weeks ago before they even announced that there's another variant. So let me find that real quick. Should take me long to find. It might. I've been between Minds and Twitter. I've been kind of blowing up my feeds today. Having fun, enjoying the day. Once I find it, I'll put the link in the chat. Oh, and I'm definitely going to talk about this. I talked about this before. The 5G towers during the lockdown. I actually talked about that shortly after because I was seeing all the work that was going down while we were locked down. Yeah. Shocking. Big Pharma received emergency use approval a couple of weeks ago for COVID variant discovered a couple days ago. Did you catch that? Now, granted, this is from the Gateway Pundit. I take everything they put out with a grain of salt. Literally. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any major network. Really? All right, let me find a different way to make this. Apparently, the URL is too long. There we go. Copy link. Huh. Okay, the link's too long for me to share. Imagine that. So what I'll do is grab the link for my page, Twitter feed, just link it that way. Wow, that's even worse. All right, I'm going to put it in my description, so that seems about the only way I can do this. All right, you refresh, it'll be in my description to that article. But it was interesting. Like I said, and we've known about the variants over in Africa for a while. The first variant was the Delta variant. Now this one, which there's reports, some doctors and scientists reporting that it's a more of a mild one. So, we got, once again, contradictory between doctors and scientists. So then what you need to look into, this is the best way to find the answers to your contradiction here. Go look up the scientists and the doctors, look at their funding, follow the money. You'll notice the ones don't have that much money, and they're usually nonprofit organizations that don't receive a lot of money. To where you'll notice the other ones, you'll see big pharma, politicians, big money tied into them. Like I said, follow the money. Then decide for yourself. This link's too long. For those that want the link to the Bill Gates one, I'll give you that too. Like I said, I wouldn't expect nothing. But it is nice to know, at least some people have the balls to hold the high and mighty accountable. Because they should. It's just getting sad that, like I said, we have this crap happening in Germany and Australia, where, basically in Australia, they're creating camps. They say for the indigenous people, but we all know how that goes. How long before they go from the indigenous and start rounding up the regular citizens? I mean, watching what's going on in Australia is scary enough because they're using technology to pinpoint your whereabouts, where you're at, your GPS from your phones, from the cameras that's all over the place, facial recognition, to where if you step outside, you're being immediately arrested for violating the lockdowns. But yet, we see many in the last few days mass protests happening in Sydney. Just like this new variant now, Italy, Europe, Britain, wherever around there. I think Germany all reported their first cases of the new variant. And it's getting to be enough's enough on this. And they're not going to let it go. Why? Because they see they can make us comply. But now they're seeing people start to take stances on it. So now they're going to push the fear propaganda even farther. How are they doing that? You need to get your kids vaccinated. They're going to use this new variant, say it's much more likely to affect your kids who already have a high immune system. So you need to get them vaccinated. They might go a few steps farther, as we discussed yesterday. In the States, just might intercede with the Children's Protective Service and take the choice completely out of your hands, since they don't want you to have any say in your children's lives. And I'm sure we're going to see those couple cases, like in California and New York, where the child will actually take the parents to court over it, as we've seen with a couple kids that wanted to have the procedure done to change their gender. Whatever happened to, they're not adults. They can't make decisions like that. That is the parents' right to choose. Now, when they turn 18, they can do as they want. Because that's basically what they're telling us and telling the parents is, you're treating that child as if they're already an adult. So therefore, that child should be able to, and I don't agree with this, but by their logic, that child should be able to drink, smoke, go to the bars, buy their own cigarettes, buy a gun, or a handgun, shotgun, rifle, whatever, because you're saying that child is an adult enough to make a decision, a serious decision that's going to alter his or her life for the rest of their life, to have a sex change operation. That's what they're saying. That's what they're telling parents when they tell the parents, you don't have no say or rights when it comes to your child. So therefore, we're not considering them a child anymore, correct? Of course, this opens a whole nother door for some sick crap that we're not even going to go down. Use your imagination, but you already know where I'm going with it. And that's why we need to protect our children as parents from the sick bastards that think they know better, so they can use, exploit, and abuse our children. I'm sorry, it'll be a cold day in hell. A very cold day in hell. I don't play that game, and most of my friends don't play that game either. I'm not giving a school system say over my kids. And if they're not teaching the curriculums that I think they should be teaching, they're trying to teach my kids something other than arithmetic, English, science, history, and I mean history, not Common Core history, not Common Core math. Sorry, 2 + 2 = 4, not 5. Basic sex education, nothing to do with transgenderism. I'd be okay with that. But if you want to go against and do anything else, you want to teach critical race theory, well, I tell you what, my child does not need to be in that school. And that should be all parents' mental state on that fine. Remember this when your school levy comes around, when you come and ask for some more money, because we're not going to pass it. In fact, our kids are no longer going to go to your school. So you shouldn't need that money. Those are the little things we can do to make change, because our school systems are very dependent on that money. Critical race theory has no business being taught because it is racism. By classical definition, the critical race theory they're trying to teach is racism. And for all those that want to argue with me on that one, all I got to do is tell you to study your history. Study who the two biggest plantation owners here in the United States during the heyday of slavery. Guess what? It wasn't a white man. Just like, oh, we need to change Thanksgiving. It's racist. Yeah? You're probably right on both sides of the story. Because the Indians took slaves too. In fact, we got rid of slavery before the Indians did. I don't want to hear it. No, we had civil rights movements. We've had some great people in the civil rights movement that fought hard, tooth and nail, to fight for the equality. It's our politicians that keep coming around saying you don't have equality, many of which are from the very party that created the KKK or had the 1942 Clambake Convention. Don't get me wrong, the Republican Party's just as guilty because they've had their own racists too. I don't care what skin color you are, because you'll actually find every skin color is quite racist. It can be quite racist. They have their group that is racist against other people, minority or ethnicity. It's an ugly, sad fact. But they are a minority. The majority of us are smart enough to know that we all have equal rights. Feminist movement of the 70s, 60s, 80s, early 90s fought tooth and nail to get women's equality, equal rights. They succeeded it. Then along comes the new wave of feminists who decide, oh, you're a male, so you're a pig, you're sexist, trying to demoralize the male. It had nothing to do with women's equality from that point on. And if you have the balls enough to actually go talk to the old school feminists, they'll tell you the same thing. Just like if you have the privilege of talking to some of the old school original Black Panthers from that movement, they will tell you the same thing. So I've had the privilege of sitting down with some. Learned a lot. Learned a lot about history from their perspective. And I know they don't consider the new movements of this day and not even part of them. Oh, I hear you. We have Al Sharpton and Reggie Jackson. Yeah, right. Not the best of role models there. One is a racist, and the other one, I won't speak bad of him. I wouldn't label him as a racist, but although what he did a couple of weeks ago in Chicago does make me question things, when they were proudly marching and throwing communist slogans. Because that's not what they were about either. Why the change? Well, that's not for me to figure out. But I will point it out. You can go watch the videos of the march in Chicago after the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict. You can listen to what was being said. It made me like, really? It's like they just want everything to explode or something. Which is a tactic of theirs. Let's keep it real. They both firmly believe in, if they can't have it, then we'll burn it all down. The scorched earth tactic. And they will. I mean, Hollywood's been really bad for promoting their propaganda. Let's look at the movies and series of The Purge. They really want that. Because they want us so divided. They want us to hate each other. They don't want us to look at each other as brothers and sisters, fellow Americans, or soon-to-be Americans who's going through the legal process to become a U.S. citizen, which isn't easy and isn't cheap. It's another whole thing about broken systems. But yet, they want to slap all these people in the face while they just let people in across our border. Here's my question. If you want to put travel bans up, are you going to lock down our border and secure it? Because that's the biggest threat of the variant coming into U.S. soil. From our southern border. But, let's talk about the hypocrisy of that travel ban. Just 2020, Biden was opposed to it. Oh, you're racist, Trump. But it's okay when they want to do it. There's that double standard again. There's the hypocrisy that it's okay when they want to do something, but when you do it, you're racist. You're a supremacist. You're a domestic terrorist. But, there's some cases where I love it when they try to label us something that backfires. Look at all the deplorables out there. Something that was meant to be harmful and hateful turned into a rallying cry and a slogan. But it also turned into a train wreck. Why? Well, when something came around that was unconstitutional, wrong, you followed that train right over the cliff. When they came in with the lockdowns and vaccines. Trump's biggest mistake was ever appointing Fauci. His next biggest mistake was not getting rid of him. And that will forever tarnish him. Because now he's just as guilty for this whole pandemic fear propaganda that's going around. And I say that a bunch of people's going to get pissed off because, oh, you're not MAGA, you're not. No, you're right, I'm not. I have nothing to do with any damn label. I am that I am. I don't adhere to no labels. And when I do, they serve my purpose for when it's needed. Am I a constitutionalist? Yes, you're damn right I am. Because I believe in the Constitution. I believe what it says. But some of you out there will say you are, but you're not. Because if you truly were, no matter what religion a person is, when they are being persecuted, you'd stand up for them because they're your brothers and sisters. You'd be fighting for them, whether you agree with their beliefs or not. But to most of you, there's only one religion here in the United States. False. There is multiple religions, and we're to respect that and protect that and defend those of other beliefs. So don't claim something that you're not. Don't take a label and claim to be it when you only half-heartedly believe it. You know, it seems like individuality has been stripped away from so many people in this day and age, that they've forgotten what it means to be individual. Be their own person, their own man, their own woman, have their own thoughts and opinions and views. And a lot of that's been eroded away through fear. Fear has been the biggest weapon of the establishment throughout history. But we all know that eventually that does backfire. Unfortunately, it takes to a point where people are so oppressed and so feel that they have their backs so far against the wall that they can see no other means of escape. And we should never allow it to get that far. It should never get that far in the first place. Too many people have been persecuted, thrown in jail, cancel cultured out because people don't agree with them or might not like them. So they let it happen instead of doing what's right and taking a stand. As much as I don't like Alex Jones, I would take a stand for him. As much as I don't like a few other people and I don't agree with some of the things they say, if their constitutional rights were being violated, they're still my brother and sister. I would still stand up for them and fight beside them for their cause. And I've done it many times. I've done it with LGBT community, with other religious communities. And it pisses people off. They're like, well, that goes against our beliefs. Well, they're protected under the Constitution. You believe in the Constitution, right? Because let me tell you, this is how it works. They go after the ones they think they can divide everybody on. They'll go after them first. Then they'll move to the next weakest. Then eventually, you're next. They will eventually come after you. Just like all this BLM people, Antifa people. One day, the hand that feeds is also going to be the hand that persecutes them. When they no longer serve their purpose or their motives, they will come down on them. And they will deserve it. And many of them will then truly see the truth and wake up. And you know what? Those that see the truth and wake up, those are the ones that is our due diligence to protect and stand up for. Yes, what I'm saying hurts because it's the truth. It makes no sense to people because you've been taught for so long to hate them. They did all this stuff against this. Why should I help them? Why? Because it, they were tricked, deceived, and they're still your brothers and sisters. In many of their cases, punishment is already served. The day they realize how they were tricked and deceived and used. Worst form of punishment you could ever dish out to them. But no, we are a judgmental society. That's what keeps us divided. That's what keeps us pitted together. And their politicians and elites and whatever you want to label them feed off that, exploit that. And we allow it to happen. Repeatedly, constantly. It's like a broken record that doesn't stop. It's never going to stop until we make it stop. We unplug it. We smash that record to pieces. And never let it happen again. But if anybody likes to join it, feel free to call in or click the link. Join me over here. It's nice to have other people's opinions and views on things. And I'm going to kind of skirt subjects into something I do want to discuss about still on my mind. What's the importance? Why is it so important to vaccinate our kids? Why is such a push? Children have probably one of the most healthiest immune systems, the strongest immune systems. What happens when you introduce a foreign substance into your body? Well, one, it doesn't strengthen your immune system. It actually weakens it. And that's what they're trying to do. I want you to think about that. That's what they're trying to do to your children. Weaken their immune system. Make it so they have to take and become, what's the word? Resilient? No. Reliant? Yes. Reliant on the boosters or the shots. And actually allowing them to be more susceptible. This is where we go to the difference between natural immunization versus the vaccine immunization, which we know don't work. And you can't say I'm lying because I just went through it with my sister. Fully vaccinated. Back then when you only needed 2. Still caught COVID. 2 people at work still caught COVID. So don't quote me your fucking facts. Don't fact check me when I'm seeing it right before my eyes, which is all the facts I'll ever need. And it's all the facts you should ever need. If you witness something and see it, and it contradicts what they're telling you, well, I guess we got a problem, don't we? Because somebody's lying. And that somebody is not what I just witnessed with my own eyes. Just like the doctor telling me that, your COVID tests are only 84% accurate. I'm like, well, gee, nice to know. So what you're telling me, in a couple of days I need to come back and get another one? He's like, oh, no. I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm pretty sure it's an upper respiratory infection. I'm like, oh, yeah. About that time of the year, and it's been a couple of years since I last had one. So, yeah, probably right. They don't know what they're doing. A lot of them are just doing what they're told. The blind feet following the blind. Right over the cliff. And taking as many people with them as they can. But we had good intentions. Yep, hell's paved with the highway to hell is paved with nothing but good intentions. What's good for you is not good for me. I'm completely against manipulation and manipulating somebody's free will of choice. Because you're stealing that person's choice. That's almost as bad. Actually, I think it's worse. They're basically telling a person, you don't have a choice, you're going to do it. You've got to be some kind of evil, sick person to steal somebody's choice. But the worst part of it is, they want to go after the very ones who aren't adults and don't have a say until it suits their narrative and purpose, of course. And strip your God-given right, parental choice, away from you. I'm not even going to predict what next year is going to be like. I don't need to. That writing has been on the wall for a very long time. At least for me. Seeing it. I already know. And I'm not going to even sit here and lie to you. Is it going to get better? It could. If we do the right things. But are we going to do the right things? Some of us are. We're too few. We haven't even begun to heal the rifts and divisions that these politicians have sowed in the American people. But let me tell you, there's beginning to be more and more of us. More and more people are starting to wake up, starting to say enough's enough. We're seeing it. We need to keep that change and momentum going. But mark my words, and mark them well. They will do everything in their power to crush that. They already tried by telling parents, if you interrupt the school board meeting, or you try to tell the school board meeting they can't do this, you're a domestic terrorist. Let's talk about striking fear into people. That is one word that people do fear, being labeled. Because you have no rights. They can snatch you up and lock you up with no hearing, no trial, no nothing. And that is scary in itself. And those are the things we need to talk about and think about. I know a lot of people. I probably shouldn't go there. I'm going there. Lauren, what is it? Corbett or Brabett? The chick in Congress that Second Amendment's right. Stand up for our Second Amendment's right. Takes lots of photos of AR-15s. Shame on you. You just proved you're no better than the rest of the swamp. How dare you apologize for what you said? Oh, that's right. I said 90%. Let's make that 91% of Congress is corrupt. Apologizing to the Democratic Party and Ilmar Omar for what she said. The things that came out of that person's mouth is terrorist stuff. And the fact that you had the balls to point it out gave you all kinds of props. I'd give you all kinds of props. Yeah, that's what we need. More of that. Then you do like every other politician in Congress. Give up. I was wrong. I apologize. You spineless coward. You're no better than the swamp that you're talking about. That's the problem. Those that we think deserve to be in Congress don't. Because I tell you what, our founding fathers never backed down. My founding father never backed down. He stood up against the Loyalist Party, and it cost him his nomination because he opposed the treaty. And he was a shoo-in for the nomination. They labeled him a Jeffersonian. You know what? He was right. We didn't pay off our debt to Britain until Clinton came in office. We've had every war we've been in, including the Civil War, we had Britain interfering in the affairs of our country. Maybe not outright. Nope. We're going to build these boats. We can't put arms on them because that'd violate our treaty. But we can ship them down to the Caribbean and arm these Civil War boats. Gotta love history. Now, our founding fathers took the biggest gamble and the biggest risk by saying, yes, the Loyalist Party has a right in this new democracy, this new republic. They have a right to be part of the Congress. We didn't call them the Loyalist Party for nothing, because they were loyal to the Queen. They were loyal to Britain. But our founding fathers, they stood up. They got into some drawn out knuckle brawls inside of Congress. They got in some pretty hefty duels outside of Congress, back when they were still allowed to take somebody out back and duel them. Worst thing that they ever got rid of in Congress. Worst thing. Kept checks and balances in place. Now we got a so-called, what they call ethics committee. Well, it's not a committee until it's formed, until they decide to form it. And it's an ethics committee of their peers. fellow congressmen and women who will never turn on each other. Quite obvious. With Lauren, well, you're right. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. I apologize. You weak, spineless coward. You do not represent this country. You don't represent anything that comes out of your mouth. I would have respected you more. I'll apologize when she apologizes for all the hateful things and terroristic things has said while she's been in Congress. But no. You didn't do that. You took the coward's way out. You showed weakness. That tells me at any given time, we'll do it again. Actions speak louder than words. And a bunch of you out there will say, oh, that's not right. You're wrong. Actions speak louder than words. How many of these men and women on either side of the party, when it comes to our Second Amendment rights, they give a little bit. Then they give a little bit again. Then again. No difference in what she did. She gave. Then you'll say, oh, that's not the same thing. It is the same thing. We need people in office who's not going to give an inch. Who's going to stand up, speak their mind, stand up for our constitutional rights, and fight for us. Not back down. Not become the swamp. Like I said, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Because I call it like I see it. And I'll never apologize for that. But if I'm wrong, I will admit I'm wrong. That's the difference. But we know what she said was true. Wasn't wrong. There was no reason to apologize, no reason to back down. In fact, I think some of us would have used much more sterner words and called her for what they went above and beyond. But no. But we wouldn't apologize for it. Damn, Bree, you're being quiet in the chat. I don't know who the other person is. They're being real quiet. But it's that point that sometimes somebody just got to say it. Okay. I know you were talking about blurry earlier. I think that says learning, right? That is typed right. Yeah, it is. I think I can't make that make can't make it out. That's an RN or M. And if you're lemonine, I mean, you spelled that wrong too. What are some other fun topics we can get into? I figured that was coming. Not me. I'm actually finally fully rested. I'm enjoying. Like I said, I'm just going to enjoy these 5 days off. I needed it. I guarantee come next weekend, I'm not going to get no rest. Just like that's not a fun subject. You know, it's just like the prices of gas. I mean, right now, this honestly, I give a miss. Not that bad. Not cheap, but not that bad. But did see a couple places where it was $3.45, which is outrageous. But I did gas up today for $3.19, which is way better than what I've been gassing up. So some prices have come down. But yet, go to the store, prices went up again. And they're supposedly running their deals, which we know is never the case. They already upped their prices weeks before. But there was no deals to be found. In fact, some of the stuff that I bought a week ago, prices doubled on it. And they were running a deal on it. I'm like, how's that a deal? I got it for twice less than that last week. Oh, I can't do fireballs. Can't do fireballs, hot damn. 101 lightning. 101 lightning is my bane. Unless I got a good chaser. And it's still my bane. Anything with, I love cinnamon, but anything with a high cinnamon content will actually make me sick. I even got to be careful, like when I make cinnamon toast, how much cinnamon I put on my toast, because it will make me sick. But I love cinnamon. But Fireball, Hot Damn, and all them have way damn too much sugar or cinnamon. And it's almost an instant reaction. Unless I'm chasing it down with like tequila. Which I haven't drank in a while because when I had got those teeth pulled and stuff, all that surgery changed my taste buds. So the one drink that I actually loved, and actually for a while I couldn't even drink COVID killers. It didn't taste right. I finally got back to the point where I can. But that was okay because I could still drink some straight Jaeger, so it's a win-win. It's like I said, we're so programmed. Black Friday, everybody's going to go out and get the deals. When truthfully, anybody that knows any better, all your deals is after the holidays, come January. I do my Christmas shopping, believe it or not, for most items, after Christmas, in January, the next year. Just like the things that I want, I'll wait till after the holidays and get it because it's cheaper. when they're trying to get rid of all the excess in stock. Best time to buy your TVs, your tools, toys for your kids, games. But there was something trending yesterday that why I got on the subject. That people are going to be buying less, not shopping. Which is true. Most people can't afford it. With the inflation, fluctuation of gas stuff prices, food prices, no, we can't really afford to get all those fun gadgets and toys and shit for our kids. Or our nieces and nephews, in my case. Oh, wait. Yeah, never mind. I'm still in that first category, too. I still got to do Christmas shopping for my two stepdaughters. Soon to be stepdaughters. That's going to be expensive. See, even I got to get used to change. I've been used to being a bachelor for so long. But I am looking forward to the next weekend too. Cause normally this is our Christmas tradition. Ohio State Michigan game. At halftime, we'd set up the Christmas tree during halftime. Like this year, it's been on my mind all year long. I haven't celebrated Christmas in years. I've never had a reason to. It's for family. For those of you who have kids and stuff, friends and stuff. I'll still go to friends' places, but my parents are up there in the age, they don't celebrate it. My brother does because he's got kids and stuff. So me and my sister will do a little Christmas shopping for his kids because he really can't afford it. But other than that, it's just another day to me. Yeah, this year's not going to be just another day, so I'm actually looking forward to the holidays for once. Which is why I'm so cheerful and in the holiday spirit and mood. Usually I'm not. Usually I'm that Scrooge or Grinch. Shit, just another day. But I also know the real importance of the holidays. And that's something, man, they've butchered, they did everything in their power to ruin. The family dynamic of getting together for the holidays, spending time with your family. It was never about gifts. It was about spending time with friends and family, enjoying each other's company and fellowship. It wasn't about the presents. It was about the food, the companionship, a reason to get together and be happy and joyous. That's what I feel now. That's what I'm so happy December's almost here. Not happy for the first couple of weeks I'm not going to be happy because it's just me getting to be another day older, but I can get over that fact. I'm still young. In heart, anyway. My body might tell me otherwise. But, it's that spirit of giving. That spirit of sharing your joy and happiness with everybody. I've been having fun the last few weeks. Going out. Happy holidays. You guys have a Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving. I've been enjoying it. But I've been enjoying most seeing the smile it puts on other people's faces. Because we're in that time where people need to smile. They need to know that people care. It's a reward in itself just to see that smile. It reminds me what the holidays used to be like. It was never about the gifts. The ultimate gift you give is being there, spreading that cheer and joy. But now they got it to where, oh, listen to the mainstream media. Well, you guys can all make a congregate, make a game out of it in your garage taking the COVID test while laughing while they say this. Man, screw you and your COVID test. No, I ain't going, we're not congregating in the garage. We're going to congregate in the house around the dinner table on the couches. Not caring who's vaccinated and who's not. Not caring about each other's politics. Man, I remember growing up. And to this day, I couldn't tell you my grandfather was Democrat or Republican. You just didn't talk about it. Whatever your political preference was, you kept it to yourself. That was your personal business. For many years, I couldn't tell you what my dad's was. Although he more leans towards independent or Democrat. He'd much rather vote for an independent, though. Me? I'm going to vote for the person that lives by their actions, whose record is backed by their actions. Not their label, because their label don't mean crap to me, but by their actions. When we sit around the dinner table, I don't see a label. Well, wait, I do see a label. Family, friends, which, in my case, you're at my dinner table, you're family. Yes, you might be a friend, but in my eyes, you're family. Or else you wouldn't be at that dinner table. Or in my house. And we don't talk about politics. We don't talk about vaccines. That should be completely taboo during the holidays. Completely off limits. And should never be brought up anyway, because that's not what we're there for. We're not going to sit there and watch the news, that's for damn sure. We're going to throw either the football game on or put movies on, have Christmas music or holiday music playing in the background. Yes, we're a little bit more patriotic when it comes to our 4th of July and Memorial Days. But on those days, my family at least, we're honoring our ancestors. We're honoring our founding father that we're descended from. We're honoring all the men and women that served for what they fought for and believed in, what they created for us. That's what this channel is about. That's what Sons and Daughters of Liberty about. We're family. We're all brothers and sisters. We're not a label. And don't make us become a label. You won't like it. because you didn't like the last founder's label when they decided to become a label. Because labels do have meaning and purpose when used appropriately and right. When they're used appropriately and right, they're not used to subjugate, divide. They're used as a symbol, a beacon. And that's what our country is. It's a beacon of hope to the world. And we need to stop letting our so-called politicians, our congressmen, our congresswomen, our president, our governors, our mayors, destroy that beacon of hope. Because the day that happens is the day that all freedom ends for everybody in the world. That hope that strives them to have a better life, even in the countries that they're in. When this beacon of hope is gone, it is gone from the world. That's what we're fighting for right now. That's how important it is to take a stance, to take back our country, take back our nation, to make the changes necessary that need to be made to continue to be that beacon of hope for the world. I don't think a lot of people out there realize the significance of what it means to be an American. The significance of what our Constitution and Bill of Rights stand for. It is a beacon to the whole world. And we, as Americans, as a nation of brothers and sisters, have a duty to protect that. If we need one thing to find common ground, let that be the common ground that unites us. Yes, we're going to have our arguments and disagreements along the way. And we should. Because that spurs on new ideas, fresh thoughts. Change. And change is what is needed. More so than ever. Look at our fellow brothers and sisters around the world. Because they're human. Just like us. They are doing what we should be doing. They are taking a stance. They are fighting for their very rights of freedom that they believe they should have. And they do have. They're doing what we should have been doing a long time ago. Let us learn lessons from the seeds of rebellion against dictators and tyrants that we seem to have forgotten. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I was hoping to have a few people on, but it's not the guaranteed thing every time we do a podcast. But I hope you enjoyed what I've talked about today. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend holiday. Be safe for those who will be traveling back home today, tonight, tomorrow. And I will see you guys on the next one. You guys be safe.